Hey babes, my name's Hannah.
And my name's Chasity.
Welcome back to Bookish Babes. Today we are doing our July reading wrap up. We're filming it a little late this month. We're about halfway through August, but it's okay. This is the first chance we got. I think Chastity's gonna start because she has 5 to talk about and I have 4 to talk about.
Yes, so the first one that I read was The Change by Kirsten Miller. I'm not entirely sure how you say that. I give this one 4 stars. It was an interesting idea. I have seen this book all over the place and I was really excited to pick it up. I really liked the writing and the concept. It was like kind of the idea of a lot of unfortunate events happening to women and a lot of unfairness in the workplace and in life and misogynistic people and kind of taking the power back a little bit. There's 3 women that kind of go through what's called the change and they end up getting some powers. Each one gets a different
Oh, you told me about
power.
this one. Yeah.
It's never really spoken about, like explained really what the power is or how it came about. There's like myths and legends and they speak to a few different people about it, but it's never really narrowed down. It's just kind of like myth and legend. But it was a really cool idea and I really did like the 3 different characters and how they came together. However, the only reason that I took a star away is because at one point I started to kind of feel like, okay, this is a little bit too much. Like
they were feeding too much into the idea.
There has to be, there's at least some good males in this world.
Okay.
Not every single male you come across is this stereotypical terrible man that thinks the exact same way about you and what you can do in life, and so it was a bit too much. It was like too far over, you know, like they weren't telling a story that was both sides,
okay,
so to speak. It was just like real far over, real reaching. So that was my only issue, is that like we're literally like no good guys at all, which to me was a little too much.
Yeah,
just too much.
They like fed too much into the idea. Yeah,
but I really did like the idea, and it could have been really executed very well, and it was well written, and I liked the characters, but that was a bit much. The only other downside was I did see the ending coming, and that was a little disappointing. I would have liked a stronger ending. Yeah, but it was a good book. I'd say check it out.
Okay. First one, I'm not really going to go into detail and talk about it, but the first one that I finished was Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows. I finished my Harry Potter reread for the year. I was really sad, kind of immediately wanted to jump back in. But I'm really excited because now I get to reread all the Twilight books for the last 5 months, including Midnight Sun, so I'm really, really pumped for that. But Deathly Hallows it always makes me really emotional to finish it. Even when I rewatch, even when I rewatch the movies, it makes me really emotional to kind of see how I feel like I grew up with them, you know what I mean? Like to see how these kids started out and to see how it all ends.
I know.
It's very emotional. Yeah.
Speaking of rereads, so I reread The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J. Maas because, you know, we've just been doing a little bit of that.
I've yet to read that one.
Okay, so it's been years since I read Throne of Glass, so I'm going back down that journey.
Starting with Assassin's Blade.
Yeah, you know, I just haven't reread that series, and I was so young when I read that one, so I just kind of wanted to see how I feel about it now. See if anything kind of sticks out a little bit more to me now. See what I think of it. And already I kind of see a little bit of a difference. I do have to say, like, I don't know why I was so attached to a certain character in the novellas.
You kept talking about Sam.
I am talking about Sam.
Okay.
I didn't know if you knew about Sam.
I know about Sam. I
Okay,
just haven't
well,
read it.
she knows about Sam, so I don't care. I don't know why I was like, oh my god, Sam. I love Sam.
Maybe,
We don't know Sam.
But you might feel this way because you know Rowan.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I really don't think so. You'll have to let me know when you read it.
Okay.
How you feel, because I just feel like, yeah, we know him as a character, but as Selena, I don't.
Also, like I say all the time, Selena, a total shit. Aelin, a queen. Literally, a queen.
So they didn't like each other. That's the whole thing. Is
Yeah.
they didn't fucking like each other.
And
so
I feel like
don't
it all happens
understand.
in one book. You know what I mean? Like the Rowan
like
progression
it
happens over time.
But it happened in like, so they're all like 5 little novellas.
Yeah.
So it happened in like a novella.
Oh.
So I was like, excuse me.
That's not enough time to like
Excuse me?
build. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. So that one was the one that I was just like, I don't feel the same. I don't feel attached to this character at all.
I wonder what you'll think about the other one.
I do too, actually. I do too.
Because if you remember, I really like the second one, and she remembers not really liking the second one. So
This
I'm curious.
is a big difference.
I'm curious to see if you'll like the second one.
Yeah, because let me tell you, my writing, or not my writing, my writing has changed. I really hope to God my writing has changed.
Right.
But my reading has,
Yeah.
my reading interests have definitely changed. Definitely. Like 1000%.
Yeah, I wonder how you feel about it. Next one I read, we both read, because it was our book club pick for July, and we're gonna do a whole book babble on it. It was From Blood and Ash. I'm not gonna say
L. Armentrout.
Yes, and I have a lot to say about it, but I'm not gonna say anything here because we're doing a whole book babble on it. But I did rate it 3 stars.
Same.
Yeah.
But that's all you get for now.
Yes.
Literally all you get.
Well, I mean, they're gonna hear me talk about the next 2, but it's fine.
But that's all you get for this one.
Yeah.
Gosh. You always have to go back.
I know. Get ready, she's got one that pissed her off.
Okay. I have talked about previous book from this author. She has talked about it. We absolutely adored it. Darling Rose Gold by Stephanie Roble.
We loved it so much
Loved
that when
it.
we saw this book that she's about to talk about signed, we bought it without even...
No hesitation.
Yeah.
Just grabbed it. We're so excited to find it. It was called This Might Hurt. This guy. Right here.
We have signed copies now.
Yeah. This Might Hurt. Stephanie Roble. Autographed. Beautiful. It's beautiful. I love it. I love the color. Plate. It's cool looking. Did not like the book. I gave it 2 stars. This book really made me mad. Okay.
Is it because you had such high hopes?
So one thing, I did have high hopes. Okay, it's really difficult when you write a very good psychological thriller.
And it was her breakout novel,
And
too.
it's your breakout novel. It's very difficult. Like the same kind of thing happened with me for the Silent Patient author. Like The Maidens was just,
Interesting.
it did not hit for me.
It's hard to follow that.
As it was very difficult to follow that. But not so much as, I did have high hopes. However, this one, it was told from 3 point of views. There's 3 different narratives happening. But it was extremely confusing to the point where you didn't really know that there were 3 different point of views till you were like a third of the way through the book. Like, and you had to kind of figure it out on your own. Where I was like,
kind of like confused.
oh, this is really confusing.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure there's 3 point of views. To where I had another friend reading it at the same time, and we were both like, there's 3 point of views, aren't there? And she's like, that's what I think. There's 3 point of views, right? And so there's 2 sisters. Then there's this person, teacher. Okay? And I was much more interested in the backstory and the narrative of teacher. Okay? And in this whole book, getting to the end, that person's storyline teacher was completely unnecessary, didn't even matter. And I'm so pissed off about it.
Can you tell by her face? It's her mad face.
Like, what? Are you kidding me? Like, nothing's gonna happen with that? And I'm so confused. I'm so confused.
I'm sorry, your facial expressions are
There's
killing me.
just like, no, there's so many plot holes. There's so many loose ends. There's no tied up I have so many questions.
Yeah.
Like, Stephanie, girl, give me a call.
Yeah.
Because I'd like to know the thought process behind this, because maybe I missed a whole chapter or something. I don't know. I'm lost. I'd like to know.
So needless to say, I did not read it. I probably won't be, because I don't want to be pissed off. Like, do you see her face as she's describing it? I don't want to be mad.
I'm mad.
Yeah.
I'm mad because okay. Once I figured it out that it was 3 narrators, I was like, okay, that was confusing as shit. But like, okay, I'll get on the train. I'll try to figure it out. We're gonna ride this out. And it just didn't make any sense though. I feel like she tried too hard and overdid it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, she overcomplicated it.
Yeah, she overcomplicated it.
Yeah.
When she probably didn't need to, because her writing speaks for itself.
Listen, Darling Rose Gold was so good. Please
Yeah.
don't let this like skew your opinion.
Yeah, don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
like,
Darling Rose
I'm
Gold
gonna
was
read the next thing she
fantastic.
puts
Yes.
out.
I hope that, like, because this is not getting great reviews from what I've seen.
Yeah, this is not gonna stop me from reading
Yeah.
her though. Like, I'm gonna get
So
the next
hopefully
thing.
she'll
because
like take the criticism and, you know.
that's what happens when being a writer. Like, you're not always gonna put out a smash hit.
Yeah. So, speaking of the next thing, I may have given From Blood and Ash 3 stars, but don't get it twisted. I was entertained as hell. So I immediately started reading the second one, from A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire. I liked it so much better than the first one. I actually really liked the second one. The first one I was like, okay, it was good. The second one I was like, oh no, this is really good. I think I gave this one 4 stars. It's still not a 5-star read for me. It's cheesy. There's a million tropes that I've seen before, and there's so much of like it's very much like this girl who is like somehow unstoppable, even though she's just like a normal girl, you know, that sort of thing.
Yeah, she still is annoying.
She does irritate the shit out of me a little bit. But there were so many introductions to like new characters, new places, new relationships. You learn a lot more about, because like the first one kind of ends in a weird way, right? Like you're kind of like, what the heck? But
Yeah.
you learn like the backstory behind that, and see what happens after that, which surprises nobody. I mean, like, it's not like I knew exactly what was going to happen the entire time. It wasn't like a wild ride. I was just like, oh, this makes sense.
Wow, this is mind-shattering.
Yeah. But once again, entertained as hell. It was good.
Sometimes
I had
you
a
need
good
some
time
trashy
reading
stuff.
it. Truly, it is like if somebody like read A Court of Thorns and Roses and was like, well, what if I did that trashier? You know what I mean?
That is exactly.
But what if I did that for people who don't like fantasy? It's very
Spot on.
low fantasy. It really is. It's
really is.
something that people can read even if you don't like fantasy, because it's very heavy on like the character relationships and the character development, even though there's not a lot of character development.
There's not much world building or like actual like follow through.
No, and there's like, it seems like my biggest complaint about these is like there are certain things that feel like an afterthought to me. Like I feel like the world building happens as like an afterthought. Like it's like, clearly I have to explain this because I mentioned it, but you could have explained it before you mentioned it, but because now it just feels like you're backtracking. That's probably my biggest complaint about her writing. Not to mention like there's a million like, anyway, I'll get into it in a different video, but there's like characters who are named similarly, and like that was just poor planning on her part, I feel like. So there's just like a lot, but was entertained. So I guess that's the whole point, right? Like not everything has to be like a work of literature. I did enjoy reading it, so.
Yeah, that's true. Doesn't matter what you read as long as you're reading, right?
This is a hobby for me. Like,
it's just supposed to be a good time. So the next one I read was The Younger Wife by Sally Hepworth, which is one of her newer ones. And and Sally Hepworth wrote The Good Daughter, which I absolutely loved. If you haven't read that one yet, you should.
Okay.
This one was also really good.
I have it.
The Good Daughter?
Yeah.
Probably. I talked about it a long time ago.
Yeah.
It was so good that I remember the main character's name, Fern. That's rare.
It's very rare.
That's very
We're
rare.
notorious for forgetting character names.
So, anyways, The Younger Wife was really good. It was more of a suspense thriller, not as, it was psychological a bit, but it was more like a suspense thriller. And I really liked it. It was a bit different. It was about a man who was getting married for the second time to a much, obviously, younger wife. His daughters were grown, and it was very interesting because when you first start the book out, it's like at the wedding, and this woman wanders up to like the bride and groom as they're getting married, and it's his ex-wife who's like still his wife.
They're still legally married.
Still legally married, but she like has like dementia, like early onset like dementia.
Okay.
And it is just, it was very interesting. Like that was the very beginning, and then like something happens at the wedding, and then we go back like 2 weeks and find out like
So it was a creepy wife.
was it?
So I would assume.
Was it?
Maybe I'm just scarred from Verity.
I mean, that's what I assumed as well, but
Yeah.
something happens to the husband, and you know, we go on from there. It was really good though.
I love when things happen to like the husband, because it's usually the wife that something happens to, you know?
I know. I love reading about books when it happens to the husband.
I know. Very last one, kind of going off of the tailgating off of the last From Blood and Ash book. This one is The Crown of Gilded Bones. Listen, we were off to a really decent start. 3 stars for that kind of book was a good start for the first one. I gave the second one 4 stars.
And you were like, yeah.
Yeah, I immediately jumped into the third one because the second one was entertaining as hell. The Crown of Gilded Bones. Absolute dog shit. Absolute trash. I DNF'd it. I couldn't get through it. It was seriously one of the worst, and this is saying a lot. It's one of the worst books I've ever read, and here's why. Not because it's just her
dog shit.
Her writing style wasn't fantastic to start out with, but like took a complete tumble in this book.
I wonder why.
I don't know. She needs an editor if she doesn't have one. I think I've heard that she doesn't have an editor.
I've also heard this.
Which checks out. If she does, she needs to find a new one, because this book it's so repetitive. It's the same shit over and over again. Poppy discovers she has a new gift, and then everybody's scared of her. But he's gonna fight for her, and then she discovers she has a new gift, and everybody's scared. Like, it's just like the same shit over and over again. There's no character development. It's not even entertaining anymore. I don't buy their relationship anymore. It wasn't like my favorite thing ever to start out with, but I feel like she is severely missing out on some of these really great side characters, and she doesn't utilize them. I am just also, there's a very complicated relationship that she could play upon between our hero and his parents, and she just doesn't. Like, I'm just like, this could have been so good, and I think that's why I'm so pissed off, because like, calling it one of the worst books I've ever read, that's a strong statement, but I do stand by it because I feel like I had such high hopes. There were so many cool characters introduced in the second one that could have made this third book fantastic, and it's just not good. It's not.
She had like the setup, the potential.
It had such great potential. It pissed me off so bad that I DNF'd it. I very rarely DNF a book. There's only been like a handful over the past couple of years that I'll actually say this is no longer worth my time, and this book is no longer worth my time. I don't see myself finishing it. I don't see myself picking up the 4th book because I've heard the 4th book is even worse.
I mean, you guys know I'm the same way.
I just could not get through it. It's not, there's almost no plot. Like I find myself wondering like why, for what purpose are we doing any of this? You know what I mean? Usually in a fantasy book, there's like a big thing that they're leading up to. And I guess like there is in this, like the goal is because where they're from, they want to like free, I don't even remember like the name of the place, but they, it really isn't supposed to exist anymore. And they're trying to like, kill the current crown so that their people can rise again. But it's just like, they're not doing much of that. Nothing's building towards it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because I couldn't even tell you what they were actually doing.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, what's the point of all of this? Like, what are we leading up to? And
what's
what's
the big evil and what's the big
and what's
fight?
The plan? What's the plan? Because they don't at this point have a plan. The original plan was obviously to use her, but now that's out the window. So like, where's our planning? There isn't any. So maybe it happens in like the second, I think I got like 50-60% of the way through. Maybe it happens towards the end, but I just feel like I was
gonna
like,
find out because nobody's finishing the fourth one, or they're mad about that fourth one.
I know. Anyway, I'm gonna get off my soapbox on this, but I was so disappointed by the third one because the second one was so much better. So I thought the third one would be even better, and it just wasn't.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm sorry. I haven't gotten that far.
No. I would say read the second one.
Okay.
And then, you know what? The series ends there because
new ending.
This is just how it ends. I wish I would have stopped after the second one because now I'm just pissed off. Now I don't even like want to recommend the series to anybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like that was like such like a waste to like build up to something that's not good.
It's for some pretty long books.
I know. They are really long, and like for what?
For what?
There's just so like those books could have been half the length and got the same amount of shit done.
I know. That's why so
it was just too long. All right, so for our August.
Okay, wait a minute.
August book club. Our pick is going to be Girls Without Tears by T.L. Finlay. We're so excited. It's Tracy Finlay, just publishing under a different name. We have read her other books and really, really liked them. So we're super excited to read this one. This one just came out. So we would love if you guys would pick that up too and talk about it with us. We're gonna do a whole like book babble when we're done. So.
Yes, so make sure you grab your copy. Yes, because we will be doing that.
Yes, and if you haven't read Tracy Finlay's other books, you should.
You should. Absolutely.
Yeah,
they're fantastic. Okay, so that is what we read in July. Comment down below. Let us know if you've read any of these and what you think of them. And hit that like button and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you know when we post next. We'll see you next time.